My babies are the best. They can do whatever they want.
But your stepson has been treating me horribly.
I am tired of people telling me how to raise my angels.
If this continues, I will have no choice but to leave. Now, for every like this video gets, one poor husband will be saved from Karen. So please, save these poor men by smashing the thumbs up and notification buttons. To the story by /Aussie Dad Lost. I've married an entitled parent. The whole story. Have been thinking about writing this for a while, but since the most stupid discussion ever had happened tonight, I've just got to get this out. So quick backstory. I married my current wife, EP, and she had 3 kids prior to us meeting. EK1, stepson 13, EK2, stepson 12, and EK3, stepdaughter 10. We have 2 kids together who, as of writing, these aren't entitled brats. For how young they are, they're quite good. A few years ago, EK decided to make up stories about me to his teachers, saying that I've been a horrible father to him and his siblings. Child Services did a thorough investigation and found it to be made up, and ever since I kept my distance from any parental roles. I have to admit, I find their entitlement incredibly annoying and lose my temper from time to time. Most of the time though, I just walk away. Also, don't know how relevant, but their bio dad, ED, has been out of the picture until 2 years ago and has since won enough custody and refuses to work, so we have to pay him child support even though the kids are with us more than half the time. Here's the story from today. Due to how our routines work, it is up to me to get the little kids ready each morning. I also take them to their respective school and daycare. However, all 3 EKs are expected to get themselves ready and catch their buses. EK1 always leaves to go to his grandparents because he gets to make lunch consisting of nothing but sugar. EK2 usually follows, but didn't this morning. Instead, thought it was a great idea to just stuff about. I don't prompt them or tell them what to do because, as their M says, you can't force them. They have to want to do the right thing. So, I'm going about my business, not really paying attention to them. Then out of the blue, EK2 start yelling at me. You retard! You should have told me how late it was. Now I'm going to miss my bus. This is all your fault, you idiot. You suck. This tirade goes on for a while. I ignore him, but in my head I'm getting angrier and angrier. I call his grandmother and tell her to take him to school as she works there. I call and let him what happened, and this is the text I got.
Sorry, EK2 got cross at you this morning. I just think you need to let it go. We know when he is stressed, he doesn't deal with things properly. Perhaps I talk to him about it later when he is calm. Anyway, no one needs the stress.
I read it and don't say anything. So come later in the day, I'm not happy at all over cleaning up and doing everything for the EKs, and M notices and get cross with me for being distant about it all. This is what happened.
You need to let it go.
Me, but it's happening all the time. Why don't you do something about it?
Because they need to choose to do the right thing.
Me, what?
What are you going to do about it?
Me, well, I'll leave if it doesn't stop.
I'm not stopping you. It isn't fair everyone keeps telling me what to do with my kids.
Me, well, doing nothing about their bad behavior is a bad parent move.
No, it isn't, as I know they will do the right thing. You just need to let it go.
Me, so you're telling me that I have to make a change and allow them to keep treating me like crap?
Yes, they are just babies.
Me, so we can't even meet in the middle.
If you could meet all the expectations, then maybe you would have an argument for that. I need to know what you plan to do.
Me, okay, alright.
I'm sick of being judged by everyone because I don't do what people think I should do.
She just left. I'm sitting in the bathroom thinking, I don't feel anything anymore. I just feel numb from it. I'm probably in the wrong knowing how I apparently perceive things. I'll update when there's more. Update 1. So, after I wrote this, I decided to call my parents and actually seek advice from them, as they both have experience in this from what I learned in the conversation. I am the youngest of 8 in a blended family, but never grew up with any of my older siblings. They also lived 2,000 kilometers away from me. My dad gave me some great advice. Use one of my audio recorders, former radio announcer, and had a lot of gear from those days. Whenever I interact with M and gather a cache of evidence, in a couple weeks, sit down M with a third party as a mediator and go through the evidence with her, and in a very black and white terms, ask what she's going to do and give the ultimatum then and there. If she says no, walk. In the meantime, I'll be gathering my resources to prepare for the worst. I would also like to point out, as a couple of you say they believe the EK1 about me being a terrible father figure, even M knows I don't. My anger is usually in the form of stomping off, muttering, or yelling, "Shut up." Here's a quick story. The way our house is designed, the kids' rooms are at one end and our shared office space is exact opposite. I was in the office room with M working on something. EK1 didn't know I was in there and started throwing himself against the door and yelling, "Stop hitting me, OP!" I looked at M and both of us recorded it on our phones. What EK1 wanted to do was to get me out because at the time I was enforcing a chore chart. Update 2. So, today M and me had another blue all over me standing up for the boundaries I have put in order to protect myself. Spent about an hour of her justifying to me that her kids can say whatever to me, then that I'm lucky to not have to discipline them because I get to, forced to, take them places to do whatever they want. I essentially said, I'm over this crap. And then got angry with me for having a verbal discussion in private with her in our home about it all because she cannot put her thoughts together properly. Me, trying to make sure I haven't missed anything, said that maybe we need marriage counseling. M's response was, "If you think counseling is needed, you go by yourself and fix you." Seriously guys, I know my rose-tinted glasses have splintered now. All I see is an entitled, spoiled person that shares my last name and is raising my kids. We'll be seeing a lawyer this week and organizing my physical needs. We'll keep you updated. Update 3. So, M just called me to tell me she needs to add me to alert tone ASAP. I feel like this is forcing my hands, so I drafted a letter. What do you think? M, I don't know where to start. Life has been weird for a long time now. You said you needed me to make a decision, so I'm here now with one. I think we need to separate. I'm not happy in this marriage. I know you are not either. I'm struggling to see any possible way out of us being miserable. We disagree on too many things and cannot communicate. I'm not going to sit here and tap out who is doing what wrong. I honestly think we're not well matched anymore, and I should have seen the signs pointing to that earlier. I'm grateful for the 2 boys you have helped raise with me, and I want to never stop co-parenting them with you. I just can't be in a house anymore where I don't feel comfortable or happy. I know I can be closed off. I know I can be standoffish, but whatever I have brought up, a feeling or concerns, I never would feel accepted or understood. I know this because we are very different people. I want to work with you on providing for my boys with everything they need, and I want to still be a part of their life. I'm not your ex and won't put you through what he has done because I know both of us can be fair. I am sorry that it has come to this point. I'm not happy at all. I cannot continue to live like this and be a suitable father for the boys. They deserve the best of me. Again, I'm sorry for this. I'm only trying to do what is best. Update 4. So, I've made a plan. I'm going to talk to M on Tuesday. I've made a budget and know where I sit for the moment. Applying for homes to rent that are suitable for me and the 2 little ones. She came back home from a weekend away tonight and she had just been wandering the house being grumpy and she says, frustrated. Wish me luck. TLDR, my wife M allows stepkid EK to treat me like crap. Recent case of EK2 missing bus to school and blamed me for not telling him to stop being lazy and ready. Talked to M about it and her response was, they need to choose to be good, not told. Yeah, I agree with OP. Kids don't magically know what the right thing is. It's not built in. You have to teach them. Show them examples for them to learn. To the second story by u/Alvis Dead. A mother made my school bus driver cry and destroyed her spirit over special presents. My mom just reminded me of this. I don't remember every details because I was like 5 or 6 when this went down, but I do remember how bummed kids were after. Okay, so when I was like 5 or 6, 1997, I rode the bus to and from school. Our bus driver was an older lady named Marge. I only remember her name because of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and she was a super nice lady. She didn't have kids, so I think she thought of her kids on her route as her makeshift grandkids. She got to know most of the kids that rode routinely, and would have gifts on birthdays and special presents to some kids, not all, on Christmas or Hanukkah. Now, we all knew about special presents the older kids had told the younger kids, and it seemed like a general rule that some kids got small wrapped gifts, like the size of an iPhone box, nothing big, and the rest of us got candy canes. I don't remember exactly what year this event happened, but I think it was maybe in the first grade, because I was very aware of the special gifts, and I know I had gotten a Barbie doll from her on my birthday, which landed just before school let out for summer break. Anyway, this happened just before Christmas break, and Marge had already given a special present to the kids always give them too. It was after school, we were being dropped off at the bus stop, it was raining really hard, and I was already in a grumpy mood because the wind blew my umbrella inside out. Marge pulled up at the sidewalk, reminded us to put on our jackets and hoods, which caused her to take a few seconds to open the door. That's when this crazy entitled mother starts rapping her knuckles on the door like really hard. Marge pulled that lever that opens the door, and even before it could open all the way, this M shoves the door open and stomps on, and according to my mom, shouts, "Why did you give presents to 4 kids and not my kids?" I honestly don't remember what this woman had said. I remember yelling, and all of us are silent watching. My mama hears Marge says, "Excuse me?" This M begins on a tirade of calling Marge a predator and accusing of her nepotism, which made her look extremely uncomfortable. As my mom said, she looked like she was shocked in an odd way. The entitled mother then says, "Are you doing weird stuff to these kids? Is that it? You are a monster. She's a dang monster." That's when some father gets on and yanks that crazy tramp off. I remember seeing her vanish like a magic trick and then looking at Marge, who was crying. My sweet old bus driver was openly weeping and sobbing. It was sad and uncomfortable because at my age, I didn't know what to do, and I barely talked, so I didn't know what to say or if I should say anything to Marge. Marge allowed us to get off. I kept my head down as I passed her, feeling this achy feeling in my chest. Outside, the entitled mother was yelling that it wasn't fair that only 4 family riders that Marge knew almost personally got gifts for Christmas, and her 2 kids only got a stupid ducking candy cane. I do remember this part. I remember thinking, lady, we all got candy canes, so what? My mom walked me home, and just as we turned the corner, a cop car came up the street. His lights weren't on. He kinda like crept by, if that makes sense. My mom had shaken her head and said, "Can you believe that crazy tramp? Is she sick in the head?" The next week, last week of school, we had a sub-driver. We had him until February. Marge returned, and she seemed to have lost her chipperness. Like, she didn't come off as open and sweet like before. She stopped giving gifts altogether, and she didn't get involved or ask us about our home lives or families anymore either. She was my bus driver until I moved 3 years later. I wonder if she's still alive. That entitled mom didn't show up after that one time. I don't think I've ever met her kids or knew who they even were, but yeah, that crazy woman kinda destroyed my bus driver's spirit. I feel so sorry for her. She was only being kind. Your old bus driver didn't deserve that in the slightest. On to the final story by /Shy Girl Turned Sassy.
Don't dress like that in front of my kids.
Just another story about my boyfriend's crazy entitled aunt and cousin. My boyfriend Cyrus, a name change, and I were on our way to a dinner party and stopped by at his parents' home because he needed to drop off something his dad had asked for. As he went to see his dad in the study, I parked the car and then went into the wait in the living room. His mom greeted me with her usual warmth. His aunt and cousin, along with a cousin's gaggle of children, were there too. Cousin greeted me and then gave me a once-over and whispered something to her mom. In other words, Cyrus' aunt. They waited until Cyrus' mom had left the room before aunt said to me,
You know, you really shouldn't dress like that in front of children. It's a bad influence on them.
Me, what do you mean dress like that? We're going to a dinner party. I'm dressed appropriately. I was wearing a black one-shoulder pencil dress.
Cousin, well, your legs are exposed. I don't want my kids to think that it is okay for a woman to dress this way. You should go home and change, or at the very least, go outside and wait in your car.
I'm 5'8", I have long legs, but my outfit really wasn't showing a lot of skin. Certainly not enough warrant to this kind of reaction. Besides, her kids were playing at the other side of the room and didn't pay any attention to me, so I have no idea why she was acting this way. Me, sarcastically, "Oh darn it, I knew I should have just worn the bikini."
Aunt, do you think you're funny?
As they were babbling, Cyrus entered the living room. They didn't see him. He had heard what they were saying and clearly didn't like what he heard. Aunt and cousin never talk crap in front of him, as he has chewed them out in the past. He asked cousin why aunt and cousin couldn't dress better. Did they really think it was okay for cousin kids to see them dress in tacky Cyrus? They should probably go home and change. When he acted indignant, he simply asked, "Oh, I'm sorry, do you feel insulted that someone is commenting on the way you dress?" They obviously had no answer. Cousin gave me one last angry look as we were leaving, and I gave her a smile. I mean, what kind of reaction is that even? Really hate this sort of person. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.